The Curse of the Oakwood House, a Haunted Dimension. In a small town of Oakwood, there was a mysterious house that stood on the edge of a dense forest. The house was said to be cursed, and the locals avoided it at all costs. The legend went that the house had been built by a wealthy family in the 1800s, but tragedy struck when the family's only child, a young girl named Abigail, died in a fire that consumed the house. Since then, the house had been abandoned and left to decay, but the locals whispered that Abigail's ghost still haunted the house, seeking revenge for the tragedy that took her life. One night, a group of friends decided to investigate the house, driven by their curiosity and a desire for thrills. As they entered the house, they were immediately struck by the musty smells of age and neglect. The furniture was covered in cobwebs, and the wallpaper was peeling off the walls. As they explored the house, they heard strange noises coming from the upstairs bedrooms. They decided to investigate, and as they climbed the staircase, they were greeted by the sight of a young girl standing at the top of the stairs. She had long, dark hair and was dressed in a white nightgown. The girl looked at them with sorrowful eyes and then disappeared before their very eyes. The friends were shocked, but they shrugged it off as their imagination and continued to explore the house. However, as they went through the bedrooms, they found that each room was decorated in a different style, as if the house had been lived in by different people throughout the years. But what was even more strange was that in each room, they found a portrait of Abigail hanging on the wall, and each portrait was different, representing a different stage in her life. As they reached the final bedroom, they found a portrait of Abigail as a young adult, and as they looked closer, they noticed that the painting was not a painting at all, but a window to another realm. The friends were horrified as they saw that the window led to a dark, twisted version of the house where Abigail was still alive, and she was not alone. She was accompanied by many other spirits, all of whom had died in the house, doomed to be trapped there forever. The friends quickly realized that they were not just exploring an abandoned house, but a portal to a haunted dimension. They ran out of the house, but they couldn't shake off the feeling that they were being followed. They soon discovered that the house's curse was not limited to the haunted dimension, but it had also followed them back to the real world. As they began to experience terrifying hallucinations and nightmares, the friends were never the same after that night. They never spoke of their experience again, but they were forever haunted by the ghosts of Abigail and the other spirits who had died in that house. They knew that the curse of the Oakwood house would always be with them, and that they had come face to face with true horror. The house still stands at the edge of the forest, abandoned and forgotten, but the locals still whisper about the curse and the ghost of Abigail that still haunts the house, waiting for her next victims to enter their portal and join her in the haunted dimension. Years passed, but the memory of that fateful night in the Oakwood house continued to haunt the group of friends. They had tried to move on with their lives, but the curse had taken a toll on them. Each of them suffered in their own way, plagued by nightmares and hallucinations that grew increasingly horrifying. Sarah, the most sensitive of the group, was the first to succumb to the curse. She began seeing Abigail's ghostly figure everywhere she went, her dark eyes filled with a deep sadness that seemed to pierce into Sarah's soul. The ghostly apparition whispered hauntingly in her ear, "You brought us here. Now, you must pay." Sarah's mental state deteriorated rapidly, and she withdrew from her friends and family. She became obsessed with finding a way to break the curse, spending countless hours researching the history of the house and its dark secrets. She uncovered stories of previous visitors who had also tried to unravel the curse, all of whom had met gruesome ends. One day, Sarah disappeared without a trace. The friends searched for her tirelessly, fearing the worst. Finally, they received a cryptic letter postmarked from Oakwood. It contained only a chilling message. "I have found the truth. I will set us free." Terrified for their friend, the remaining friends returned to the Oakwood house, desperate to uncover the secrets that had driven Sarah to madness. As they entered the decaying mansion once more, they were greeted by an eerie silence that hung heavy in the air. The feeling of dread was palpable, as if the house itself was aware of their return. They retraced Sarah's steps, exploring the rooms and portraits that had haunted them before. But as they approached the final bedroom, they realized that something had changed. The window portrait that had led to the haunted dimension was now cracked and broken, as if it had been shattered from the other side. Fear gnawed at their hearts as they peered through the shattered window. What they saw was a nightmare beyond comprehension. The haunted dimension had spilled into the real world. The dark, twisted version of the house had fused with their reality, and the spirits of Abigail and the others were no longer confined to the other side. The friends were now trapped in a nightmarish amalgamation of two worlds, where the laws of reality had been twisted and distorted. They tried to flee, but the very house seemed to conspire against them. Rooms shifted, walls closed in, and the corridors became endless mazes of terror. One by one, the friends fell victim to the vengeful spirits. They were tormented by the ghosts, forced to relive their worst fears and regrets. It became impossible to distinguish between the living and the dead, as the lines between the two realms blurred. The curse was unrelenting, and it showed no mercy. Tim, the most skeptical of the group, was the last one to succumb. He had always been the voice of reason, the one who had tried to downplay the supernatural events they had witnessed. But in the end, he too was consumed by the malevolent forces that lurked within the house. As Tim's sanity crumbled, he mumbled incoherently about a hidden ritual that could break the curse. He claimed that Sarah had discovered it before her disappearance and had left clues behind. But his ramblings were disjointed and cryptic, making it impossible for the others to decipher the truth. In their final moments of desperation, the friends decided to perform the ritual, hoping it would offer some salvation. They followed Tim's fragmented instructions, gathering in the room where the shattered window portrait once hung. As they chanted the incantation, The house trembled, and the air grew thick with malevolence. But instead of breaking the curse, the ritual seemed to intensify it. The walls of the room began to bleed, and the spirits of Abigail and the others manifested before them, their eyes filled with a burning hatred. The friends screamed as the vengeful spirits descended upon them, tearing their souls apart in a gruesome spectacle of horror. In the end, the Oakwood house claimed them all. Their fates were sealed as they joined the ranks of the tormented spirits, forever trapped in the nightmarish realm that had fused with the real world. The cursed house became a place of unspeakable horror, a warning to all who dared to venture near it. The small town of Oakwood became a ghost town, its residents fleeing in terror as rumors of the cursed house spread like wildfire. No one dared to approach the house on the edge of the forest, for they knew that it held unspeakable horror beyond imagination. And so, the Oakwood house stood as a grim reminder of the consequences of curiosity and the relentless grip of a curse that could not be escaped. It waited patiently for the next unsuspecting souls to wander into its dark embrace, ready to calm them and add their tormented spirits to its ever-growing collection of lost souls. The house had become a true abomination, a gateway to hell itself, and its horrific legacy would endure for all eternity. Thank you.